It is often said that behind every great man is a great woman. With Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone De Beauvoir, however, it was one of the few happy times when the great woman did not languish in her famous partner's shadow, but was equally lauded in her own right. Indeed, their relationship began in 1929, when De Beauvoir gave a presentation on the 17th century German philosopher Leibniz, impressing Sartre, who began to pursue the 21-year-old philosopher and author. While not monogamous, the two were lifelong companions from then on. Together, they were at the forefront of the existentialist movement, with Sartre penning such notable works as Being and Nothingness in 1943, De Beauvoir following 4 years later with The Ethics of Ambiguity, which is often regarded as the most accessible introduction to the philosophy of French existentialism. Together, De Beauvoir and Sartre traveled around the world, teaching and lecturing. They met world leaders like Fidel Castro, were among a host of European authors invited by Russian leader Nikita Khrushchev to attend his reception for writers at his holiday villa near the Black Sea. In 1966, she and Sartre traveled to the Middle East, meeting with Dr. Sawat, the United Arab Republic Deputy Premier for Cultural and National Guidance. They also visited Cairo University as part of their quest to examine the causes of the ongoing Arab-Israeli conflict. De Beauvoir's work spanned many genres. Her fiction included metaphysical novels like 1943's She Came to Stay, based on the menage a trois she conducted with Sartre and one of her female students. She also wrote essays, monographs, biographies, and her autobiography. Her most famous work, however, was The Second Sex, which she produced in 1949, marking her forever as one of the founding mothers of the women's liberation movement. Beauvoir and Sartre had very particular principles when it came to awards and literary prizes. Sartre even turned down the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1964, becoming only the second person to do so after Boris Pasternak in 1958. But in the mid-1970s, De Beauvoir went against a 30-year practice by agreeing to attend the 7th Jerusalem International Book Fair. The reasons for doing so were, she said, to voice her solidarity with the State of Israel in the face of condemnation from the United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization. At the presentation attended by Yitzhak Rabin and the mayor of Jerusalem, Teddy Kollek, she talked about the Jewish state and also discussed the second sex, expounding on her belief that many women were actually complicit in their own subjugation, content to remain dependent upon their husbands, and ignorant of what they could actually do with their freedom. On the 15th of April 1980, De Beauvoir finally said goodbye to Sartre, after half a century with him when he died aged 74 of an edema of the lung. He was buried in Montparnasse Cemetery in Paris, and 50,000 mourners attended his funeral. Some people were trampled in the throng, and others fainted. De Beauvoir needed assistance to even get to the graveside, where she was flanked by such notable figures of the French arts world as Simone Signoret, Juliette Greco, Yves Montand, and François Sagan. After Sartre's death, De Beauvoir continued to work, publishing a farewell to Sartre, in which he edited his letters to her in order to avoid hurting people in their circle who were still alive. She also kept editing Les Temps Modernes, the journal they had founded together after World War II, right up until her own death from pneumonia on the 14th of April, 1986. She was buried next to Sartre at Montparnasse Cemetery, as inseparable in death as they'd been in life.